Hi friends, we're live. It is CFLW, the show for this Monday, December the 15th, creeping ever so closer to Christmas Day. Hope you're doing fantastic. Coming up in this live stream, we'll talk about the front that is currently moving across our area, the gray skies it has brought us, the cooler weather it has brought us, the breezy conditions, and what temperatures look like for the rest of the week, and we'll preview the forecast as we get closer to Christmas Day. As always, CFLW, the show, is sponsored by the leading law firm of Central Florida, your hometown homeowners insurance attorneys. They cover the entire state. They offer free consultation and policy reviews. So if you get property damage of any kind, check them out. Their logo, their website is at the bottom of the screen. It's leanomnilaw.com for more information. I hope everyone had a fantastic weekend. Pretty nice weather weekend here in Central Florida. Temperatures really began to warm up by yesterday afternoon. We're starting to see the front move south of the area. Winds are mainly out of the east. They're blustery, and you can see from the high resolution visible satellite imagery, we're beginning to get these really thick clouds to come over the area with these gusty winds. We've had thick clouds across the I-95 corridor all day long, and the clouds continue to move across I-4 and towards the west coast. So most of Central Florida will be enveloped in overcast skies the remainder of this Monday. Temperatures in some areas have already hit their daytime highs. We're going to pick up a little bit more with no northerly component to the breeze and expecting temperatures to drop even a little bit more. Let me jump into the comments real quick before we get started everywhere else. Hey Nancy, how you doing? 66 degrees there in Wedgefield, 58% humidity. Got that 14-mile-an-hour wind under very cloudy skies. Hi, Chessie. Good afternoon to you. Mostly sunny there in Spring Hill. So you see the difference. Again, we have cloudy skies, central and eastern areas, still mostly sunny along the west coast. But if you look off towards the east, if you live across the I-75 US 19 corridor, all these clouds are going to be rolling into your area, and you'll get underneath that thicker cloud coverage as well. Actually, north to northeast wind. Yep, everything today is going to be out of the north to northeast, but there is a bit of an easterly component to the wind, and that's going to play a factor in the temperatures, and I'll highlight that coming up. Hey, Blue Goose, good afternoon to you, my friend. Chilly, windy day up in St. Augustine, 53 degrees there, 78% humidity, quite cloudy. And hey, Jaden, how you doing? In the house from Aruba. Hope you're doing well, my friend. How was Central Florida? Let me know. Did you enjoy things? Appreciate you. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for finding enough out of this channel to spend part of your Monday with me. I really appreciate it. If you're here, drop a quick like as well. Appreciate that too. So let's get to our live cameras and then we'll jump into the details of the forecast. It's going to be a lot of gray outside right now. Live look outside to Winter Garden, the western side of Orange County. We are looking back off towards the west, and even into western Orange County, skies have become overcast, and all of that thick cloud coverage continues to work its way off towards the west. From time to time, winds will freshen up in the 10 to 20, even 25-mile-an-hour wind gusts from time to time, but the winds will be more steady and gustier along the east coast. Again, you can see your current conditions across the bottom of your screen for a lot of cities across Central Florida. We'll move on over to Winter Park. A little bit of sunshine there, more of a broken deck, but again, this is kind of intermittent sun and what is going to be a mostly cloudy or overcast remainder of our Monday afternoon, but just a couple of hints of blue sky there from the Lean Law Cam in Winter Park. We'll see a relatively overcast, gloomy, very breezy shot from the Conway Cam, southeast side of downtown Orlando. Again, looking back off towards the east, so this camera takes that view and pushes it towards the east coast, where again, if you look across the horizon, it's a fairly gray early Monday afternoon here across Central Florida, and that's the direction all the weather is moving today. Got those extra clouds that will just continue to stream in from the east coast, and it's made for, again, a mostly cloudy or overcast day across the attractions. Yes, it's cool outside, but it's not outrageously cold, and underneath this cloud coverage, I'm not expecting any more than a couple of sprinkles along the immediate coast. Okay, so let's get back over to the weather computer for you here. Got to bring that back up, and let's talk about some of the overall conditions that we're seeing right now. So this is the 6-hour loop of the visible satellite imagery. The front that has brought us this cloud coverage is now well south of the area. So behind this front, we are left with what is going to be a east to northeast wind all day long. So these are your wind directions using arrows at the hour, okay? Now I want you to notice that there is just a touch of an easterly onshore wind associated with these winds behind the front. This is tapping into the relatively warmer waters of the Gulf Stream, and it is keeping temperatures chilly, but not frightfully cold behind the front. If the winds were more due north, temperatures would already be a lot colder. But because we are tapping into some of the coastal waters, which are relatively warmer on the Atlantic, things are going to be a little bit on the warmer side relative to what they could be. Let me show you the temperatures right now. Now again, some areas, and I'm going to go ahead and just pause this at the hour, some areas have likely already seen their daytime highs. I love when it does that. But right now, you have 57 in Ocala. You have low to mid 60s along the coast. You have low to mid 60s across the Orlando metro area with, again, just a little bit more sunshine at the hour in Hillsborough and Pinellas and the coastal areas of Hernando and Pasco. In Manatee and Sarasota counties, it's a little bit warmer here, just a little bit milder. Tampa, St. Petersburg in at 70, Bradenton, Sarasota 72. Those are your warmer spots. But here, where skies are actually a little bit clearer, but winds are more due north and they're not feeling the impacts of getting a little bit of that onshore breeze. Look at the temperatures here, 54 in Keystone Heights, 57 in Gainesville. The Jacksonville area is already in the mid and the upper 40s, and their temperatures are actually only going to continue to drop. If I go back out, they hit their daytime highs today right around 10:45, 11 a.m., and they've only dropped a degree or two since then. Then you're looking at extremely cold conditions for a lot of Alabama, the Georgia, basically all of the rest of the Southeast, including our Panhandle and Northeast areas where you're not situated with water on several sides of you. And again, these winds are gusty right now. These are the wind gusts in miles an hour. I'm going to loop this up over the last couple of hours. St. Augustine had a darn near 40-mile-an-hour wind gust earlier, so Blue Goose knows about some of the breeze there. Same thing for Jacksonville. Winds have been fresh all day long, especially along the I-95 corridor, and pretty darn consistent. 15 to 25 mile an hour sustained winds, but gusts which have been fairly frequently going over 30 miles an hour. If we take a look at Daytona Beach at the hour, they have right now a sustained wind at 16, but a gust up to 25. And that is a very common number and kind of range across the East Coast at the hour. New Smyrna Beach has a 23 mile an hour wind and a gust up to 29. But you get even towards inland areas, MCO, the airport in Orlando, OIA, 16 mile an hour wind, gust up to 25. The Executive Airport in downtown Orlando, 16 mile an hour wind, gust up to 24. If you look at the wind direction, they're all going to have a bit of an east or northeast component, right? 15 mile an hour winds, gust up to 30. So look, it's cooler, but it's not stone cold, frightfully cold behind this front. And it's simply because of the wind direction as this front has pushed through. Bit of a onshore flow, keeping things cloudy and cool, but not excessively cold. Good to see you guys. Appreciate you tuning in. The weather was so good. Love it. We'll be back soon. That's awesome, Jaden. Great to hear. I'm glad you had a fantastic time. Blue Goose, you probably have seen your daytime high, my friend. I don't expect northern and western and northwest areas to get any warmer for today, as there will be just a little bit more of a northerly component to that wind overall as well. So let me talk about the current advisories that are into play. Now, the one thing that this is obviously doing is kicking up a lot of rough sea conditions. So you have small craft advisories for nearshore and offshore waters for our entire East Coast, all the way down into the Keys and then up the West Coast to include places like the Naples area. A little bit of a break in the action there, although you have rip current statements for Manatee and Sarasota counties and all of the Tampa Bay area. Then you get back into small craft advisories for the Panhandle and the Big Bend. Now we're talking about the cold weather. Freeze warnings are in effect north of Alachua County, including the Lake City, Live Oak area, and then you have these rip current statements in Jacksonville, but the rest of Southeast Georgia and then southwest Georgia are either under freeze watches or freeze warnings. But we are not going to see that kind of colder weather. Yeah, it's going to be cold tomorrow morning, but not that cold. And then right along our immediate coast, you have your high surf advisories, your rip current statements, your beach advisories overall. We're going to get some breakers in that 5 to 7 or even 7 to 9 foot wave heights for the next 24 hours. Offshore waters near the Gulf Stream are likely to see some seas approaching double digits in feet. So obviously small craft need to be very cautious. Some need to remain in port. Obviously beachgoers need to be very cautious, but it is December. We're not expecting a lot of folks to actually try and get in the water, but it's just not advised. The bottom line is that beach and boating conditions are likely to be very poor over the next couple of days. Okay. So let's break down a couple of other things I want to talk about here. Let's go to wind gusts. Look at that. Again, 25 to 30. No wind chill to speak of until you get up north, and it does feel like about 40 in Jacksonville. So you get the idea there. I think that's it. We'll bring on the Viz temperature map overall here. So this is just kind of a look at the broad perspective. Now, rainfall wise today, again, could there be a few sprinkles with the onshore wind? Yes. But I just looked at the Melbourne radar before I came on. We're not picking up anything. I've actually got the composite radar on right now, which is even less sensitive. I mean, we pick up a little bit of moisture in the atmosphere here. So again, a few sprinkles along the coast, bit of a stratocumulus deck of clouds along the I-95 US 1 A1A corridor, just keeping things more shrouded in clouds overall. And then you get where the actual front is, and you still are picking up enough lift in the atmosphere, especially south of that boundary, to produce a few light showers, Fort Lauderdale, Miami, back into the upper Keys, maybe even portions of the northwest side of the Bahamas, but not expecting appreciable rainfall with the front that'll be moving through as we speak. Yeah. Incredible cloud deck out there, Blue Goose, no doubt about it. Really interesting, but again, it's keeping us warmer. It's almost trapping in the low-level heat that was out there and was present. If we had a north wind, the dew points would be lower, skies would be clearer, and we would be in store for a very cold night. Now, it's going to be chilly tomorrow morning, but for mid-December, it's not going to be outrageously cold. So let's break down what is going to be happening here. I'm going to switch over to the HRRR model. Our high resolution rapid refresh should have that nice and loaded up for you guys already. Bring up this model data and loop this up through Wednesday morning. And again, you have a question about the forecast, feel free to drop it in the comments section below. I'm going to have look at your 3-day forecast coming up, and then I've got a preview of what I expect as we get closer to Christmas Day, including the Christmas Eve and the Christmas Day forecast. First glance at it, we are 9-10 days out, so things can change, but I'm going to give you my overall opinions of what I expect for next week. And again, while you guys are here, appreciate you taking a quick second, hitting that subscribe button for me if you haven't as of yet. Thanks for tuning in during the live version. As always, you can watch this as a recorded video that falls under the live tab of the CFLW YouTube channel. Basically just means, hey, he was live, but now it's a recorded video. You can watch this at your leisure. Obviously, some of this information is quite evergreen, at least over the next few days. All right, so let's take a look at what the HRRR model is showing. Now, the first thing is you can clearly see from where that light rain and moisture is trying to move in that we're going to stay with an easterly onshore breeze through Wednesday. From time to time, underneath this deck of clouds, there could be some light showers or sprinkles along the immediate coast, St. John's, Flagler, Volusia, Brevard, Indian River counties with that best opportunity. No appreciable rainfall totals, right? Nothing significant enough, more than a trace of rain, is expected. I do feel like we could still have a couple of light showers tonight along the immediate coast through daybreak tomorrow. Then the air dries up enough most of Tuesday where we're not going to see any rain, and then on Wednesday we could get back into a few light showers or sprinkles, and some of that activity is able to pull all the way across I-4 and maybe even towards our west coast. So I have a very low end chance for a couple of showers on Wednesday, but it's not much. It's more nuisance rain than anything else. We'll get a little bit more cloud coverage back in, but actually temperatures by then are expected to warm back up a little bit, because if you see towards the end of this loop, you notice how if we go back down into Osceola and Brevard counties here, notice that the wind, you see how this is beginning to almost turn and have a little bit of a north component? The winds as we get into Wednesday are likely to be out of the south and east. So it's just going to be a little bit milder wind direction. If I bring these winds on and then I single frame this to a Wednesday morning, you'll see that there's just a little bit more of a due east wind. And eventually, as we get deeper into Wednesday, these winds will likely turn even a little bit more out of the south into the east. Just a little bit milder air overall. But again, because we are continuing with this onshore flow over the forecast period, I'm not expecting the brunt of the colder air to be able to work its way into Central Florida. So fairly overcast, but as far as, any significant, rain, any significant storms, any significant colder weather, not expecting that to happen. If I go back over to the advisories here again, just so you guys can see, you actually have a special weather statement up in the Atlanta area. And I just want to highlight what they're expecting here. They're expecting the relative humidity to be quite low, but they've also had some very cold temperatures in this area as well. If I go back over here to the live temperatures, they were into the teens this morning and they're only back into the 30s right now. And if Garrett was joining us from North Carolina, he would talk about a bitterly cold morning here too. A lot of teens back into 30s, but the air is actually very dry here. So they haven't had really any winter precip associated with this. I have the radar composite on for you guys. And again, we have a couple of showers down in Southeast Florida, our part of the world here, but there's nothing but just colder air in the Mid-South and the Appalachians in the Southeast in general. Okay, so let's get into what I expect for us here for the next few days, and then we'll look at the forecast for the Christmas week as well. And as always, you have a question about the forecast, feel free to drop it in the comments section below. So again, just one more look. This is what I expect for the remainder of most of today in Central Florida. Relatively overcast skies. Now you get up to Gainesville, skies are clear, but it is a lot colder. It's about 10-degree difference right now from Gainesville to Orlando, and it's your wind direction and how much cloud coverage that you have. Again, the clouds are actually trapping in some of the lower heat that we had a little bit earlier in the day, keeping things on the milder side. So for the attractions, let's break it down. Yes, it will be a chilly start tomorrow morning. Temperatures are going to fall a bit more than where they are right now. But again, and we're not just going to plummet back down into the 30s or even the lower 40s. I have the Orlando metro area tomorrow, most areas in the upper 40s. Lake Buena Vista being on the southwest side should stay right around 50. So it's a chilly morning. It's a beautiful afternoon, more sunshine tomorrow. We should see drier air coming in to clear out our skies right around room temperature. For mid-December, 50, 72, ain't too shabby. For Wednesday, a little bit of cloud coverage coming back in. Partly sunny skies, milder, sprinkle or two possible, but not enough to put into the forecast. 54 up to 76. Now, as we get into late Wednesday and Thursday, winds turn even more out of the south or southeast. That will pull in milder air. So we start off at 59, 78 the daytime high, temperatures above average on Thursday. So it's a mild day with a few nuisance showers, nothing more than that. I think on Thursday right now, from time to time, skies could be partly sunny. From time to time, skies could be mostly cloudy, if not even overcast, as a little bit of moisture kind of comes in with that continued onshore flow out of the east. And so we'll have somewhat variably cloudy skies, but generally on Thursday, more clouds than sun for most of the area. For our friends in Sanford, again, chilly morning tomorrow, but not outrageously cold, right around 50. Certainly outlying rural areas will dip into the upper 40s, Chuliota and, Lake Helen and Osteen, outlying areas of Deltona and De Leon Springs, places like that, northeast sides of Lake County, anywhere within that area of Sanford, just outside of some of the more urban spots, should get into the upper 40s. But Chilly. Again, not outrageously cold, nowhere near freezing. Sunny afternoon tomorrow should be great, 71. Again, cool start, 54 for Wednesday, milder afternoon up to 75. Then again, we just get a little bit warmer throughout the week. So now we're up to 78 on Thursday, more clouds coming back in. So again, partly to mostly cloudy the majority of the day, from time to time overcast with a 20% chance for some fast moving showers. Yeah, you might want the umbrella just in case. But again, I'm not expecting anything to be too concentrated or heavy on Thursday, but I can't have it completely dry. I can't rule out some showers coming in on Thursday with a little bit more moisture present overhead in the atmosphere. And again, just a milder afternoon ahead. For Crystal River, now you get into some colder air tomorrow morning. Again, skies are already a little bit clearer along the west coast, more of a due north wind, and now you're farther away from the east coast and where we have the influence of the onshore winds. So I do expect some upper 30s to lower 40s for rural areas of Citrus and Levy in northern Sumter and Marion counties. Again, no freeze warnings, no freeze watches. Winds should be still a little bit fresh. Could be a couple of areas of frost, but no frost advisories, but sheltered locations. It's plausible, but not widespread. 41 tomorrow morning. Kids, make sure the kids have layers on in these areas. It is jacket weather tomorrow morning. Indeed, it is going to be cold at the bus stop, cold for you when you head out early. But it's a nice afternoon. With the sunshine, we climb a full 30 degrees from the morning low, back up to 71 for the daytime high. Then again, it just moderates throughout the rest of the week. Look, it's still a chilly start to Wednesday morning in these areas. Upper 40s, a couple of spots in the lower 50s, but certainly chilly, still jacket weather. Milder afternoon back up to 74, still dry. Then Crystal River, Homosassa Springs, Lecanto, Inverness, Floral City will all see again more cloud coverage throughout the day on Thursday, turning mostly cloudy by the afternoon hours with a few isolated showers possible. 56 the morning low, 76 for the daytime high. Along the East Coast, in general, you're going to get more cloud coverage, okay? But overall, tomorrow and Wednesday should probably even out to see a little bit more sun than clouds. Now, I want to be clear about this. The forecast for places like Flagler Beach and Daytona Beach and Wilbur by the Sea, back down towards the Cape and Satellite Beach, places like that, we're expected to stay overcast the remainder of today. We're expected to see a few sprinkles evening and overnight. But by daybreak tomorrow, we should start to see enough drier air filtering in where we start to break up some of this cloud coverage. And so the forecast for most of Tuesday for places like Daytona, New Smyrna Beaches and Ormond Beach is for skies to just continually clear, ending up mostly sunny by the late afternoon hours. Cooler day still, not outrageously cold. Jacket weather certainly tomorrow morning, 54, with a daytime high remaining in the upper 60s. Milder day for Wednesday, 58 the morning low, so we're up 4 degrees from tomorrow morning, 71 the daytime high, under mostly sunny to partly cloudy skies. Then mostly cloudy to overcast from time to time on Thursday, so building back in some of the clouds with a few light showers in the forecast, but a mild day overall, 62 the morning low and 75 degrees the daytime high. Anyone have any questions about that forecast for the next couple of days? Again, this front has certainly changed the forecast to bring us some cooler weather, but it's not going to be, where we're talking about, again, the opportunity to see any freezing conditions. And as I go back over to the weather computer, I took a look again at the next 2 weeks. And let me tell you something, my friends, at least at this point in time, okay? At this point in time, as of today, I do not see sub-freezing temperatures in our forecast, all right? So relatively speaking, things look to be somewhat on the milder side. When we look at the 6 to 10 day temperature outlook, okay? So 6 to 10 day temperature outlook. So we are now looking at this weekend into Christmas Eve. And of course, I'm going to break down the forecast coming up. But let me give you kind of what the overall outlook appears to be. My friends, it's not just us. There is a very, very high likelihood that the majority of the United States will see above average temperatures leading up to Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. And the majority of the United States staying above average through Christmas Day as well. So again, this is not telling you the temperatures, this is telling you what's the chance from this weekend into Christmas Eve, the 6 to 10 day outlook, that you could see above or below average temperatures. The farther right that you go, the higher the chance you're going to be above average. The farther left that you go in the legend, the higher the chance you are to be below average. And it's just the northern tier of the U.S. that has a higher than average chance of staying below average. Everyone else is likely to be warmer, especially the Southwest, the Southern Plains, and us here in the Southeast. So we expect to stay on the warmer side, meaning that the next fronts that will be coming through between now and Christmas Day are likely not to carry a lot of colder air. Or if it does, not expected to remain cold. Now, the interesting thing about this is we're also going to be slightly drier than average. And it takes a lot to be slightly drier than average this time of the year because we're normally dry to begin with. It's the western third of the U.S. from the Intermountain West towards the West Coast that will likely be wetter than average. They're going to have some West Coast storms coming in. We will have a lack of moisture with the fronts that come through. So we have a chance to be a little bit drier than average, but not frightfully drier than average. I do expect at least the opportunity for a couple of showers here and there. But the next couple of fronts, and again, the big question always this time of the year is, do these fronts clear the area like the one that did today and get all the way off towards our south where we have the drier north winds coming in? Or do these fronts stall out and produce the opportunity for some heavy rain like they did, about a week, 10 days ago? So let's break down what I expect looking at the GFS model coming up as we head towards Christmas Day. Now, again, I don't normally go out this far, but we can, and that's fine. I mean, this is, one of those scenarios where obviously, folks want to know what's happening around Christmas Day, and I'm happy to accommodate that. The other thing too is that, I spent some time today kind of looking at the overall ideas of what I expect through Christmas Day, and so I'm going to highlight those as well. So I'm just going to let this loop up, and then we'll kind of get into the forecast. And again, appreciate you guys taking a second, hitting that like button for me. You know what, I screwed up here. So I wasn't able to see everyone's chat, but now I can see everyone's chat. Nancy says her garden loves that weather. I imagine it does. Just remember, you got tropical plants, they still need some water this time of the year. Okay, so looping up through Christmas Day on the GFS model. We'll just stair step this real quick for you guys. Okay, so again, on the GFS model, the next couple of days, you can see that there's some moisture along both coasts, right? The onshore breeze promoting that. But most of this activity doesn't really slip in. Now, as we get into Wednesday and Thursday, you're going to see a little bit of green creep back up both coasts. That's the very low 20% chance for an isolated shower. There you go, into the afternoon hours, right? We should start to see a boundary lift back to the north and just pull enough moisture in for a couple of showers, but that's about it. The rain is likely to be a little bit more significant actually to our north because guess what? The moisture comes into another front that'll be moving into the southeast and the U.S. in general, the U.S. East Coast in general, as we go into next weekend, okay? As we go into Friday. And then behind the front, Saturday, the 20th, things are looking pretty good and dry. Now, as we move towards Christmas Day, a little bit closer there is Sunday, here's Monday. A weak mid-level low is likely to traverse the Tennessee Valley and into the Appalachians. It could drag a weak front in, but if anything else, what I am expecting, at least at this point in time, is a somewhat similar setup to what we're seeing right now, where we could have a boundary that either stalls out or never makes it through, but produces a bit of an easterly onshore flow and keeps at least a low-end chance for a couple of showers across the area the 23rd, Christmas Eve, and Christmas Day, okay? But there's no signal that I'm seeing right now that produces A, significant rain, or B, significantly cold temperatures. If nothing else right now, temperatures are likely to stay slightly above average in that time frame, okay? I'll obviously be monitoring the trends very closely, but we're likely to have a bit of an easterly onshore breeze leading up to Christmas Day, which could pull in a few showers and some, from time to time, some cloud coverage. Right now, I'm not willing to say it's going to be overcast like this, but it's another very weak system, right? We don't have a big time strong cold front coming in between now and Christmas Day. These are really weak frontal passages, even for December, even down here in Florida, right? Which means they're not pulling in a lot of moisture. They're not pulling in strong north winds, and they're not pulling in frightfully cold air. So overall temperatures continue to be on the moderate side right on through Christmas Day. So let me give you my first blush look at the Christmas forecast. And that's not it. It looks like this. All right, here you go. This is your Christmas preview. Again, still subject to some fine tuning. We know that. But for the 23rd, which is going to be your Tuesday of next week, mild, probably partly to mostly cloudy, with a 30% chance for some showers. 63 the morning low, 77 the daytime high. Again, just, rather than looking at the actual numbers, just understand that leading up to Christmas Day, we are likely to have mild air continuing to stay with us. Nothing cold, and if anything else, especially in the afternoon hours, temperatures are likely to be at or above normal highs as we lead into Christmas Day. 63, so low 60s on the 23rd, Christmas Eve, 59. Again, easterly winds, still mild, but does this produce a couple of showers, especially along the immediate coast? That is a possibility for Christmas Eve. Again, I'll be monitoring the trends of the models, and I'll have more on this on Friday's show, but still can't say it's completely dry through Christmas Day, because we're likely to have a bit of a southeast wind, which could pull in enough moisture where we could see a couple of showers on Christmas Day. So partly to mostly cloudy on Christmas Day. I hope we end up getting more sunshine. Nothing right now hints that it's going to be a very gloomy Christmas, but again, kind of a mix of sun and clouds. Warm day, mainly dry. Right now, 20% chance, 61 the morning low, so right around 60 or lower 60s, and upper 70s for a daytime high. Not a bad Christmas forecast. It's too warm for me, but they're not taking my orders, at least as of yet. But mid and upper 70s, and then morning lows, upper 50s to lower 60s. Low chance for showers. Again, not an outrageously strong front coming through that would really up the rain chance at this point in time or drop temperatures. So that's what I expect as of the here and now for the days leading up to Christmas and Christmas Day itself. And of course, we'll revisit this for Friday's CFLW, the show. Anyone have any questions about the forecast that we just went over, the next couple of days, or whether, you have any questions leading up to the Christmas Day forecast? Please let me know in the comments section below. Of course, this is why I do this live show, my friends. We get an opportunity to sit here and chat about the forecast, and you guys can let me know if you have any questions out there. But again, at the hour, looking at what's going on at the present time, just bring back up this information for you real quick and loop it up. You can clearly see it is going to remain an overcast day for the East Coast, becoming overcast across the I-4 corridor, including Sanford, Orlando, if it hasn't as of yet in your area, and clouds continuing to stream in along our West Coast. So if you live in places like Inverness or Crystal River or Spring Hill or Holiday, Orlando Lakes or Clearwater, Indian Rocks Beach, Tampa area, Brandon, Seffner, Dover, Plant City, skies are becoming more cloudy and overcast the deeper into the afternoon hours that we go. And I don't expect temperatures to warm up much more for those areas. And in our northern zones, we've probably already reached our daytime high. Okay, if no one has any other questions about the forecast, I appreciate you guys tuning in. Please remember that CFLW, the show, is sponsored by the Lean Law Firm of Central Florida, your hometown homeowners insurance attorneys. Again, they cover the entire state. You get wind, hail, hurricane damage, flood damage, basically property damage of any kind. If you've been in an auto accident, they are not a one-trick pony. They'll help you out. They'll walk you through that insurance claim process. I do implore you guys to support someone who supports the channel by going to leanomnilaw.com for more information. Another quick way to support the channel, hit that like button and subscribing as well. Appreciate you guys tuning into the live version. If you have a question in the recorded version, just let me know in the comment section below. I'm happy to answer that at any point in time. My friends, make sure you grab the jackets for tomorrow morning. That's the coldest air I expect. That Tomorrow morning is not out of the question to be the coldest air we see between now and Christmas Day. How about that? It might be close, but again, I'm not expecting any big plunges of colder air coming in between now and Christmas. And we'll have much more on that for the CFLW, the show coming up Friday at 1 o'clock. Friends, those who joined me in the chat, I appreciate you guys taking a quick second and let me know how you guys are doing and dropping in the chat. Again, I appreciate the interaction. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you guys back for CFLW, the show for this Friday at 1 o'clock, where again, we'll take a look at the weekend forecast and what's going to be happening for our Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. Until then, take care. I'll see you then.